Shadows in the Smoke is intended for mature audiences and may contain material that some people find disturbing. Please see the episode description for content warnings and listen with care.
Good morning, hunters.
Good morning.
Ordinarily, I say that a week or two has passed since the last time we checked in on the hunters of Hargrave House, but I think it's less today. I think it's only been about a day or two. Things are accelerating. I don't think there's a lot of time off for you all right now. Here's the point in the day phase where ordinarily I would introduce a brand new threat if we had fewer than 3, but we are full up. We have 4 threats currently that we are working on.
That's the way to break the game. Too many threats. She can't threaten you.
We've done it. We've solved it.
No, you haven't solved anything. Don't say that.
We're working on it.
I'm trying my best.
The threat that you've put the most effort into is Fig's Pigs. We have killed Obert Fig, thus resolving 1/3 of the threat, but 2 Figs are still out and about in London, La Hortensia and Patrick. We have 3 clues for the Fig's Pigs threat, so that would be enough to resolve a Fig, but not both. And you only have 2 more night phases before the Figs escape London.
Given how well we've been doing on answering those questions, I think we need more clues.
It'll happen. We'll get 2 for 1 to make up for all the failures.
The Figs are sneakily a really difficult threat to resolve.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly.
You don't think it is because they're only complexity 2s, but they can get out of hand really quickly.
As we've demonstrated.
We have the Waitley camera.
Do we?
This is a complexity 8 threat, and we have 2 clues for it, so we can't even try. And we only have 3 night phases left before the Waitley camera falls into the hands of the mastermind. Yikes. That is all I'll say. And then we have our playbook-specific threats, the Coven and the Pinkerton. The Pinkerton we presently have 0 clues for, though Miss The Narrow might be getting 1 today from her servant, former Detective Inspector Pettigrew. And we have the Coven, which we've put a lot of effort into. We have 4 clues for the Coven currently, which is good because in 5 night phases, the Coven will complete their terrible ritual. Speaking of the Waitley camera, a small envelope is dropped off at Hargrave House.
Nothing good ever happens when small envelopes are dropped off at Hargrave House.
When Maricat Ovelia opens it on your behalf, she discovers 5 photographs.
I don't like that. I already don't like it.
The first 4 are of each of you, taken at some point as you've been traveling through London. Paint the scene.
Oh, no.
As you inspect this secret portrait of yourself, how has the photo subtly warped to show some dark, hidden truth about yourself?
I don't think mine is very subtle. The image is of Hutchinson in the alley after the transformation, after eating Obert Fig, and superimposed over it is an image of the creature standing in the same spot.
The picture of Maisie is of her prancing down the street. She's very light, she's very happy, but behind her you can see these ghostly figures of everyone she's haunted by.
Everything in Rabbit's picture is covered by some sort of motion blur or is out of focus, except for his eyes, which are sharply in focus in the middle of the plate.
For Ina, it would be her walking through London, but instead of her beautiful, untouched face, we see all of the wrinkles and scars from everything that she's done.
The 5th and final photo is of Hargrave House itself, wreathed in flames.
No.
Oh!
No.
Oh, shit.
No.
Oh, God.
Hey, we're fine. It's raining. Okay? Can never happen.
Yes, London has never famously caught fire.
It's not Chicago, Robert. There are no cows in London.
So, who's up for breakfast?
You've taken the joy of the breakfast phase from us.
Remember when I said we should give Kim some stuff because of how well we've done with all of these threats? I rescind that. I take it all back.
Listen, when you don't pursue threats,
They pursue you.
yeah.
Hutchinson is sitting at the breakfast table with an untouched cup of coffee in front of him, waiting for the inevitable.
Rabbit has been absent from Hargrave House largely for these past couple of days as he's been going all over the greater London area, talking to and warning every little sprite and pixie and boggle and whatnot, every member of the fair folk that he knows of in London, warning them to keep their heads low, getting whatever information he can from them. So he hasn't been around a lot recently, but I don't think his absence is that noticed.
Since being kidnapped, Maisie has been in her room feverishly planning things that the other hunters are not aware of. And this is the first time they've seen her, and she is manic. She walks down and everything is a slamming emotion. Everything has anger behind it. It's a very clipped hi. Starts going to the larder, realizes she does not want to go down there, and instead turns to the pantry and just tries to get something to eat from there.
Maisie, have you seen Miss Thanero this morning?
No, I haven't.
And honestly, you wouldn't have seen her. I don't think she's been around the last couple of days, a little more conspicuously absent. She's been out in London visiting her cult members and seeing her worshipers and being in spaces where she is adored and revered. But she does come downstairs today, and she's dressed in a very simple white shift. She does not make eye contact with anybody. She does not acknowledge Maisie's banging around. And she goes over and prepares herself a cup of coffee without a single word to anyone.
Found her.
Appreciate it. Hutchinson looks at the cup of coffee that he had poured for Ina and runs his tongue around his teeth, says nothing.
Maisie looks at that moment and just grabs the cup of coffee and keeps going on her way. You don't need this, right? Great, thanks.
When she's at the door, I turn to Ina. I ain't seen you around the last couple days. You're here to tell me just how deep in the doghouse I am?
She says nothing. She just pierces him with a gaze that is madder than she's ever been, but also scarily calm, and just sips her coffee and looks at him over the rim of it.
It's all right. I can handle that. I'm not used to being this quiet.
She raises an eyebrow.
Well, say something. Even if you're pissed at me, just anything's better than this.
She doesn't say anything. She's leaning against the table where the coffee is, letting him squirm.
You want me down on my knees? He gets down on his knees. All right. I ain't too proud to beg. Whatever you need, name it. I'll make amends.
She looks down on him, pitying him for a moment, and then she starts to walk past him and head back to her room.
He stands up and takes her by the hand.
She looks down at his hand and then looks him straight in the eye, but still says nothing.
I'm sorry I kept it from you. I didn't know what would happen if I told you, and I know it weren't a wise decision, but I'm not wise. I couldn't love you if I was wise. To be wise and love exceeds man's might. That dwells with the gods above.
She changes their grasp a little bit and intertwines her fingers in his. Her face softens ever so slightly. Lead me to your room.
I ain't got no bathtub in there.
She doesn't say anything.
He leads her to his room, opens the door, and offers for her to walk in ahead of him.
She lets go of his hand and walks into the room. She sees this giant cage in the middle of it, takes that in for a second, and then closes the door. And then she notices all of the books. She looks at some of the titles, touches a few of the binds, and then she reaches out a hand and snaps her fingers.
He jumps at that.
But in that snap, she notices how dampened the sound is. It's very quiet in here.
Yeah, well, figure Y'all get enough earfuls of me during working hours. Wouldn't want to interrupt your sleep.
She doesn't say anything to him, but instead goes to the cage and opens the door and just gently gestures him inside with a hand.
He nods, like, okay. And now at least we're getting to it. And walks inside. So this is it? You lock me in here for a spell, make me watch something, then you can forgive me?
She closes the door but does not lock it. I had thought that I might forgive you. I've weighed it very carefully, considered what amount of justice I might require of your betrayal, considered that perhaps you were cornered by forces older and louder than yourself, and chosen poorly, yes, but humanly.
Well, to err is human.
To forgive, divine. Yes, there are moments where I think, surely I can forgive you, Beau. Maybe even forget what you did. Perhaps his love has been twisted by necessity. Perhaps he did not mean to keep the most vital truth folded neatly away, like a bloodstain under a cuff. Perhaps he could not tell me. Perhaps it endangers another. Perhaps. But then I remember how you smiled when you lied to me most gently. And then I had to wonder if your devotion was not solely to get closer to me, if it was not simply you holding back your cards until the river had been laid and all my chips were neatly in the middle, your prize much more easily won. But your hand's been played, hasn't it, Gus? How clever of you to love me while sharpening the knife. How tender to kiss me with a mouth that could split into fangs at another's bidding. You bound yourself in worship, secretly hoping it was enough to bind me. How ardently you promised across bound hands that your life belonged to me. You tell your tales as if the world is something you have survived rather than something you were hiding from. Do you know what wounds me most, Augustus? Not the monster. I have lived among monsters since men first learned to pray. No. It is that after everything you've seen, everything you know I'm capable of, that you believed there was nothing I could do to free you, to sever the leash wrapped around your throat. You gave me no credit, no respect, no part in your survival. You said you entrusted me with your life, but you didn't trust me enough to protect it. You did not merely fail to tell me who you are, even with every opportunity before you. You still chose your chains. You chose the pull of deep water over the clarity of air. You chose the command whispered from below over the woman standing before you. She pauses here for a moment, walking around the cage, running her hands over the bars. This cage, your clever little precaution. How revealing it is now. You called it necessity. Men always do when they intend to betray a woman and still wish to be mourned as good. I see it for what it is. A shrine to your obedience. A kennel for your borrowed fury. She comes over and stands in front of him, looking through the bars down at him. I broke my own laws for you. Do you understand that? Men who kneel to me are taught to lower their eyes, to claw the sight from their own skulls once they've seen too much. And you I let look. Let you meet my gaze without punishment. Let you memorize the shape of my mouth. I treated you not as a supplicant, but as a companion, as something dangerously close to equal. That indulgence alone should have bought your loyalty for a lifetime. Instead, you studied me with eyes I spared so you could better betray me. She looks him over. There's really nothing on her face. She's not disgusted. It's just blank. And she opens the door and steps inside over him. You are not my lover. You are not my equal. You are not even my disappointment. You are the man I met all those months ago. A wild American with wilder stories, and a talent for surviving things that should have killed him, so long as someone else tells you where to aim and pulls the trigger. And at this, she leans down, and it looks like she might go in for a kiss, but she doesn't. She just puts her mouth right up to his ear. Where will you point your gun now, I wonder? One shot, John. And at that, she straightens, turns, leaves the door open to his cage, and walks out of the room.
So this sounds like taketh away.
You would be correct, since Augustus has the condition worshiper.
Here's the interesting thing. Taketh away is normally intended to be used with a side character, but I think with T's permission, we can apply it to a fellow hunter, especially considering that Mr. Hutchinson is a worshiper.
And T.
Yeah.
I thought about that, and we are not physically destroying him, but we are destroying his spiritual tether to Ina.
Yeah, I'd say that this was a very thorough spiritual destruction. Miss De Niro, how does this make you feel?
I think emotionally at this particular moment, she feels very good, vindicated, but underneath it, there is a twinge of something else, something a little more akin towards hurt.
And I would like you to scar your reflection. How has the portrait changed?
The visage of Augustus clinging to Ina's leg devolves from his human form to a moment of mid-transformation, pausing as his back rips open and he's dropped to all fours on the crumbling dais, the furious waves rising up to take him. The hand of Ina that once reached toward the heavens is now holding a spear aimed squarely at Augustus's head.
Oof.
The spear is coated in a slick smear of blood, but it is not his. It's hers.
Oh, my heart, my whole heart.
This is so devastating.
I know. And you get rewards.
I get prizes.
Yay! Prizes for destroying.
Prizes, absolutely.
Breakup prizes.
Yeah, I wish every time I broke up with somebody, I got a prize.
You know what I mean?
This scenario, you may choose 3 from the list below because Mr. Hutchinson was a
I'm a
worshiper.
worshiper.
No roll necessary.
I'm going to clear, marked by the Lady Thames. I'm going to take advantage on my next roll. And I'm going to take a personal quarters item from One Shot John.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God.
I want to see what he's got and see what I might like to take as my memento from this moment.
I can't believe this. Yeah, go forth.
Well, starting off strong, I have a dagger, if you want to add to your knife collection. I have a luxurious scarf that's been used as a gag, silver knuckle dusters, a gold pocket sundial, Vera Hale's face, Miss Philomena Fu's daguerreotype, a bottle of ambrosia, a sketch of myself from James Whistler, the corpse of Mefenway, which is elsewhere, but it is technically mine, the brass pterochippus, a gramophone, Dick Harlow's monocle, a box with a heart in it, and an 1851 Colt revolver.
As Ina is leaving the room, she sees this portrait by James Whistler, pulls it off of one of these bookshelves, folds it, and takes it with her.
And so you do. Mr. Hutchinson,
Yeah,
how are you feeling?
truly devastated, irrevocably hurt. Not only does that destroy the spirit of the relationship, Hutchinson feels his spiritual connection to the world severed by that takedown. She didn't say a single thing that was untrue. In fact, she gave voice to many things that he feared were and didn't dare say out loud. As she reaches the door, he says quietly, but clearly enough in this quiet room that she can hear him. I thought our mistakes didn't define us. I don't deny anything. I told you before, only my mother calls me Beau. The woman I loved, the woman who loved me, called me John. And I don't deny you may be a goddess, but at least she was a woman, actually capable of feeling. And I would gladly sacrifice anything to see her again. He raises the revolver to his temple, just in front of the ear that she whispered into, pulls back the hammer, and then shakes his head. No, you may spurt from your daddy's head, but what's inside mine is staying there. I will buy some wisdom, though. And he points the gun up through the bars of the cage and fires one shot. Then, rapidly, the other 5, emptying the cylinder. He breathes deep, turns the still smoking pistol barrel around, and jams it into his right eye.
Maisie runs down the hall and up the stairs and stops just outside the doorway behind Ina and just sort of leans over her shoulder, as tall as she is, to just get a glimpse and sees it's John holding the gun and not Ina. Breathes a little bit of a sigh of relief. Is he dead?
Unfortunately, no. And Ina gives Maisie like a little pat on the shoulder and goes down into her rooms.
Mr. Hutchinson, please clear the condition worshiper.
Yeah, for sure.
And please take the condition abandoned by God.
Hutchinson looks up at Maisie, and she can see the cauterized socket. And he walks toward the door, puts a hand on her other shoulder, nods at her, and leaves.
As he goes, Maisie puts her hand on top of his hand.
Here's usually when I ask what it is you all are doing out and about London. Mr. Lloyd, tell me what it is you're doing this morning.
I think when we see Rabbit this morning, he's out and about at one of the many farmers markets, trader stalls, things that exist about London, buying up some bread and honey to go perform a ritual.
Miss Douglas, what are you thinking of doing with the rest of your day?
Right now, I am going down to the docks to also hopefully perform a ritual.
Miss Thinero, Mr. Hutchinson?
I am going to head to the British Museum.
Hutchinson is going to do whatever he does when he feels like life is slipping out of his hands and take his frustrations out on a woman. I would like to answer the question about La Hortensia.
Cool. Let's get that out of the way right now, I suppose.
Heard.
The clues you have remaining for Fig's Pigs are a carefully folded bundle of long blonde hair, mud on Obert's boots that included traces of algae, and a report that a bunch of chickens had been brutally killed elsewhere in London, but there were human footprints leading to and from this supposed animal attack. The question for La Hortensia Fig is, what did La Hortensia Fig lose that she is trying to recapture or remember? It is a complexity too.
Over the last couple of breakfasts, we have established the theory both that Theodora Brathwaite is attempting to maintain immortality and that she is the puppet master pulling the string of all these threats. Putting those two together, La Hortensia is looking for her lost youth, and she is searching for a way to regain it. Our theories so far tie a lot to water, which is the algae scum on the mud of her boots. She is hunting in the banks of the Thames in the wild for a fountain of youth a la Ponce de Leon. And the long blonde hair is a remember of the color her hair used to be when she was a child.
All right. It's a flat roll. Who's putting dice on the table?
I'll do it.
Is this just he putting dice on this table?
I can roll if you'd like.
Fuck it. I'll make my bet. I'll lie in it. 6 and 6 is 12.
Oh my
Hell yeah!
God, yes. Why was this so hard before?
I had to wrestle fate with my own hands.
So that is a 12, which means that your answer is not only correct and the opportunity can be pursued, but the answer is also a mastermind clue.
Which is also so perfect for the hunting immortality thing.
Let's pick back up with our hunters who are doing some rituals. Let's begin with Mr. Lloyd. Where are you taking this little bounty that you've gathered?
At this point, London has a lot of green spaces that are royal hunting preserves, essentially. And he is breaking into one of those to try and be a little bit closer to nature in order to do this.
Why don't you describe this ritual that you're doing?
It's one we've seen him do before. It's fairly simple. He draws a circle in the dirt, takes a little piece of the bread, takes a piece of honeycomb, puts them in the center of the circle, and then very gently pricks his finger and squeezes just a few drops of blood into the middle of it. And almost immediately, we see a small man dressed in raggedy-looking medieval garb, little bit of wings, fluffy hair, saunter into the middle of the circle.
Is this the same pixie that you talked to before?
I see no reason why it shouldn't be.
This same little man, this lord of the forest, looks at you and pulls off his small little cap and bows in greeting to you.
Rabbit can't fully bow because he's seated to perform this ritual, but he nods his head and lowers his shoulders in return.
Afternoon, master. What's this spread you got for me?
Hello, my little lord. Just some fine, freshly baked bread and a bit of honey. A good breakfast for one such as yourself.
I don't suppose you brought any more of that beer, did you?
Not today, I'm afraid. But I need you to be fully sober and aware of what's going on for what I need you for.
Aye, fine. This little pixie sits cross-legged and starts tearing off hunks of bread and mopping it up with some honey.
I can listen while I eat.
There are some truly horrible men in London today, led by a man who has no respect for the bounds between the other realm and this one, a man who sees nothing but power and opportunities to seize it. I've seen what he's done to your kind and to others of the magical persuasion. I know you cannot leave, tied as you are to the land, but I would ask you to tell all of those you know to keep their heads down, to avoid coming out, avoid mortals if they can, and bring whatever protection they can with them. One way or another, this will all be over tonight. In order to help you with this task, the noble Ketshi has offered his services to ferry you from location to location. And Ket, fully resplendent, pads up to the circle and lowers his head down, inviting the little man to get upon his back.
This little pixie starts feeding Ket some of the bread and honey.
With a normal cat, I would be worried about that, but, Ket's a bit more than normal.
His wings alight, and he flies up and scritches the Ketshi's big, bushy cheeks.
I hate to be rude and run off, but I do have others to warn, more pressing things to do today. But before I go, Malcolm Somerset, do you know anything about this man?
Make the information move. At disadvantage, because you're marked for sacrifice. You know the danger of speaking names aloud.
A little bit of a gift for any information you might have. And Rabbit pulls out a candied moonflower and hands it to the pixie.
Lovely. All right, so then you can make this information move with presence as a flat roll.
That is a 7 on the dice, so a 9 total.
Miss Douglas, off to the Thames?
Yes.
Tell me about your ritual.
Maisie leaves the house carrying a basket and a small fishing net, taking on the appearance of someone who's going to hunt for oysters and clams and crabs and things. And she keeps up that appearance at the Thames until she gets to a spot where she's a little bit more secluded, at which point she puts everything down, catches a crab off the rocks with her bare hands, and just lets it sit in her hand for a minute, stares at it, and then grabs it by the middle, walks out into the Thames, and just starts pulling off one leg at a time and tossing them into the water. And then once the writhing creature has no more legs to give, she puts it in her palm and just crushes it and dumps it in the water.
Are you rolling Rites of Shell and Shadow?
Yes, please.
Please roll with sensitivity.
I am also going to uncork the bottle of Fey wine that I have in my bag, take a swig, and then dump the rest into the Thames.
Please do.
That's going to be a 7 plus 3, 10.
Who is it you want to talk to?
I would like to talk to my mother.
This is very cool. We will come back to this.
Let's take a trip to the museum, shall we?
Miss Thanero, it's been a couple cycles since I've asked you this, but let's hear the fit check. Are you doing a full revenge dress moment?
In a way, I think it is. It's an outfit she has worn before and does wear on occasion, but today she's putting on, in the full light of day, her ceremonial garb for when she goes to be with her cultists. So it's that Grecian style, one-shoulder black dress with all the black silk on the arms, the cape, created by the one and only Vittorio Clemenza.
Oh, beautiful.
In this full regalia, she enters the British Museum. She makes her way through the museum towards the exhibit that is housing the Elgin marbles. She pauses to admire, to remember for a moment, does not acknowledge the many glances towards what she is wearing. She continues on through the exhibit and finds a staircase that leads to a sealed upper gallery that adjoins this exhibit. At the top of the stairs, she reaches a door with a sign that says, "Unsuitable for public exhibition," and she pulls out an ancient key. She goes through the door, closes it quietly, Inside, we find a lofty chamber with coffered ceilings, fluted columns, and tall windows that are softened by gauze curtains to protect the masterwork from harsh light, a temple that is reminiscent of Athens. The masterwork stands at the center of the room on a large dais with 2 large columns draped in black silk on either side. The dais is surrounded by a moat of boiling seawater, with a marble plinth carved over one section to allow for closer viewing. There is a simple stone seat set before the masterwork, and a small table holding 2 gold pins with sharpened points and a gold bowl. And she walks over, she throws her cape onto the stone seat and approaches the masterwork for the first time in a while.
Why don't you read your cosmic passage move for us?
Once per session, when you gaze upon the masterwork in an attempt to uncover something hidden in the world, roll with sensitivity. On a 10+, the masterwork reveals a clue or a mastermind clue, your choice. On a 7 to 9, as above, but you also scar your reflection.
Please roll, and because of Taketh Away, you can make this roll with advantage.
5 + 2 is 7 + 1 is 8.
Miss Thanero, please scar your reflection again. And how does the masterwork change?
Seeing as we're in the museum and this masterwork is expertly hidden from view, I think in the back of the painting, we see crowds of people start to emerge from the paint, looking on this monster standing atop the pedestal.
All right, and now, what threat would you like to receive a clue for?
Ina grabs a hold of this now molten frame. Her hands are glowing, but they're not burning. And as she looks through the scene, she tries to find something that will give her a clue towards the Pinkerton, because that is something that concerns her.
Miss Thanero, as you gaze into the masterwork, it shifts yet again. And very briefly, a new figure is added to the background of this painting, the Pinkerton Winslow Taggart. In his hand, he is holding a green velvet cloth, and in that cloth are several tiny diamonds. Mr. Lloyd, this small pixie flies up and then sits down on the back of Ket's neck and scruffs its fur there. Are you sure that you're wanting to leave this little one alone? He asks, but he's talking to Ket about you.
Rabbit definitely picks up on that. He just smiles and he gives Ket a gentle scritch as well. It's probably the first time he's smiled in a couple days.
Now, Master, I've been hearing a little something about a Somerset, you say?
Yes, Malcolm Somerset.
Aye, storyteller. Though the fair folk have not been saying his name so much, the cats have. I heard from a local clouder. A whole bunch of them are in a trance, gathering in the same spot every twilight, compelled to gaze up at the stars.
Unfortunately, that sounds about right. His magic is of a particularly greedy and destructive nature and doesn't really care much if others are affected by it.
Now, are you going to be all right? This Somerset bellow's about. Doesn't look like you're going to ground.
Unfortunately, I've already tried that and it doesn't work for too long. No, tonight has to be the night. I have to face him. One way or the other. London will be safe for the fair folk again tomorrow. Hopefully, though, if I end up on top, it'll be safer for the fair folk for quite some time.
You talk as if we're not going to see each other again, Master.
You know as well as I do that stories must come to an end, but I don't think this is quite it yet. And then the smile, the sort of jovial banter that Rabbit's been doing, that drains from his face, and he is hard as steel, flinty eyes. I must leave you now. You have your job to do. I have mine. Best of luck, and I'll see you on the morrow.
Let's go, wee beastie.
And he sort of kicks his little heels, not doing anything, and pads away with Ket into the forest. Elsewhere in London, the men of the Royal Society for Esoteric Research gather over a charcoal sketch of Mr. Morgan Lloyd. They hold this piece of paper above a black flame candle and set it on fire. And Mr. Lloyd, you feel your skin burning and sweating. Please take the condition feverish. Mr. Hutchinson, are you planning to go after La Hortensia Fig right now?
Yeah, why waste time?
Indeed.
Wake up and smell the bacon.
Tell me how this hunt goes for you. Tell me where you find La Hortensia Fig.
The London Underground is many things, but chief among them, it is an access to the deeper forgotten recesses of London. And as Hutchinson takes to the streets, following the scent of the mud on Obert's shoes, he goes down into the underground, but he does not catch a train. He takes to the tunnels, and then an access hatch, leading to the bones of this new transit system, the Roman ruins beneath Londinium, and an ancient bath, where the waters of a fountain still trickle up from the ground, but they cannot wash away the scent of La Hortensia fig. And in this spring, with the water dripping down the ancient stone walls, one-shot Hutchinson lay his eyes on Hortensia fig. Sui.
Shadows in the Smoke is a Kitten Marlowe production. This episode was edited and produced by Kim Dalton and featured a theme song by Jake Pierle. You can find out more about us by visiting kittenmarlowe.com, signing up for our newsletter, or following us on socials. For Discord access, an exclusive behind-the-scenes show, and more, visit patreon.com/kittenmarlowe and join our cats, Virgil and Dante, and all of our incredible Kitten Marlowe patrons in supporting artist-driven storytelling. Thanks for listening.